My name is John Whipple. I'm a candidate for Kentucky's 10th House District, which is much of Breckinridge and Hardin counties. I'm here today to talk about a bit of controversy going on here in Kentucky regarding the state gasoline tax. Okay, here in Kentucky, the state tax on gasoline is 25 cents a gallon. There's an additional 1.4 cent environmental fee. The federal government charges the tax of 18.4 cents a gallon. And don't ask me how 18.4 and 1.4 and 25 all come up to that 0.9 that you see on the pump. I haven't figured that one out yet. Anyway, as we all know, the gasoline tax funds construction and repairs on all our state, county, city roads, and of course the highways from the federal government. And not long ago, President Trump suggested that the federal government not collect the road tax while we're engaged in a conflict with Iran. All right. He needs the U.S. Congress, however, to do this. Okay. He can't do it by his own. He can't do an executive order. It has to be Congress. And so far, Congress has failed to act on his request. However, here in Kentucky, the governor does have the authority to use an executive order to cut the gasoline tax by 10 cents a gallon for 30 days. Governor Beshear took this action back in May in order to ease the burden on Kentucky families, farms, and businesses. Beshear also said that it would be possible to make up the lost tax revenue with other budget measures. Currently, the Kentucky Budget Reserve Trust Fund, the Rainy Day Fund, has an unobligated balance of $3.7 billion. All right? That means unobligated, that means it's not spent. It's not labeled to be used in some way. It's just sitting there collecting interest. Okay. According to the law, the governor may extend the tax relief another 30 days if the local city and county governments request it. Okay. And Governor Beshear said he would do that. And we got 30 city and 5 counties have requested the extension, and he granted it. Now, this has caused accusations of pandering by several Republican legislators. And pandering is when you do something to help somebody else, and this other person over here says, hey, hold on. The only reason you did that was to make them like you. And in this case, what they're saying is they're accusing Governor Beshear of lowering the tax on the gas in order to get votes, in order to make people like him. Well, Governor Beshear replied that, hey, look, I'm just doing what President Trump suggested. I thought it was a good idea when President Trump, your boy, suggested it. I thought I would do it here if it's good for him, it's good for Kentucky in this case. Even worse are the threats made by other senior Senate Republican leaders to withhold future transportation funding because of this deal, because of this governor's action. He wants to withhold the future funding for transportation to any city or county that accepts the deal from the governor. He's saying, like, look, if you get this money, if you get $1 million, if you save $1 million, we're going to take $1 million out of whatever it is we were going to give you for transportation next time around. And this is unacceptable. This is a threat, and it's unacceptable. And I believe that it's actually even unconstitutional, because the Constitution of Kentucky says you cannot pass specific legislation on individual counties, on individual cities. Okay? Can't do it. It's unacceptable, in my opinion. It's unethical, especially when you don't offer any alternative. You can't sit there and say, well, I don't like what the governor did because it makes him look good and me look bad. You can't say that without offering something else. Okay, there are other options they could do, but they're not making any suggestions. All they're doing is making attacks on Governor Beshear. And I am not here to push Governor Beshear, okay? I'm here to talk about this gas tax. He's the guy who's making the deal. So we're talking about him. All right. Well, my final comment is to all the city and county officials that had to make this decision. The ones that decided to accept the money and the ones that decided to turn it down. Okay. And for the ones that accepted the money, what I want to know is, Do you have your own plan? Okay, look, because that money is not going to be generated. The tax money is not going to be generated. Normally it comes from the state, and they're not going to have that money to give to you. It's got to come from other places. So do you have something on your own, trying to find a way to generate tax funds for your internally, all right, or to help your roads internally? And like city tax. Okay, some states like Florida, they have federal tax on gas. They have the state tax on gas. And some cities have the privilege granted them by the state to put their own city tax on gas. Kentucky doesn't have that. Should that be something we consider? Okay. Is it a tool you can use? And for those that rejected the governor's offer, okay, what plans do you have? Because he made this offer saying, I'm going to help local families, local farms, local businesses, and you rejected that. All right, that's your choice, but I want to know what plans you have to help them on your own. You're saying, excuse me, you're saying we're not gonna lower the price of gas to 10 cents a gallon here in Breckenridge County. Okay, you ought to have some other way, something else in mind to try and find out, because there are an awful lot of people buying gas in Breckenridge County, farmers, businesses, and here's the big thing, all you counties that rejected it, that means that you've got to pay that same 10 cents a gallon that everybody else does. How are you gonna, because how are you gonna make up the cost of the high cost of gasoline that you're forcing yourselves to pay? It's like me going down to the gas pump and saying, instead of paying $3.50, I'm going to go ahead and pay $3.60 a gallon. You made this choice. What are you going to do to make up that 10 cents a gallon that you're paying for your choice? You could have gotten out of it. You didn't. I want to know, what is your plan to make up for all that money that you're going to spend, extra money that you're spending? Okay. That's about all I got. I know I went on and on and on. I want to thank you for your time. Say, hey again, my name is John Whipple. I'm running for the 10th District House of Representatives, and that's Breckenridge and Hardin County. And folks, we need to all work together. Thank you very much.